another one of his family members had texted me. He said, Trey's cheating on you, which we call him Trey, but his name is John. Me, I was hurt. And so I went to be by myself at the pool area where I was at the time. A guy walked up to me and he's like, well, you look like you need somebody to talk to. Do you want to go to my camper and talk? So.
Over a man who's taking advantage of both of you, and then you sit up and say you don't feel some kind of way because I see too much. If he just leave me alone, I'll be all right. He don't just slip on a banana peel and land between your legs. No.
This case went from 0 to 100 real fast. Mr. Rash believes his wife, Ms. Fuentes, has been cheating everywhere, even with 5 brothers from the same family. He's forgiven her multiple times, but now questions if the kids are even his. Just when things can't get wilder, Ms. Fuentes drops a bombshell twist.
You are here today seeking the results of paternity tests for your 2 children. You claim your wife, Ms. Fuentes, has cheated on you repeatedly. You say she once left you for another man, slept with, even had the name of another guy tattooed on her body.
Yes, Your Honor.
The drama escalates when Ms. Fuentes admits to cheating, but insists Mr. Rash knew from the start. Then, she reveals another man is waiting outside because he might be the real father. Mr. Rash looks stunned as the courtroom collectively gasps. Before anyone recovers, another mess unfolds.
Today, you've also brought another man to court who is waiting outside, who you believe could also be the father of one. Don't you believe Mr. Rash has good reason to doubt paternity?
I do, in fact. Actually, I have cheated on him. I'm gonna admit that, but he knew from the get-go, like, look.
Just when you think it can't get worse, Mr. Rash reveals he found texts from random Craigslist men messaging Ms. Fuentes. He claims the messages were incriminating, proving something was going on. Ms. Fuentes argues they weren't together, so it wasn't cheating. Mr. Rash isn't here for technicalities. He just wants the receipts.
I found out that she cheated on me through text messages that she had in her phone, people on Craigslist, men, incriminating messages, something that should never ever been on her phone.
We weren't together.
It doesn't matter.
Even when we were together.
Even when we were together. I mean, right there.
So did you confront her?
Yeah.
Now we enter custody drama. Ms. Fuentes claims Mr. Rash took their kids for 6 months, blocking her out completely. She insists she was working hard as a mom. Mr. Rash says he did it because she was out partying instead of parenting. The courtroom watches like a tennis match, unsure who to believe.
He took the kids and wouldn't let me see them for over 6 months. He would not let me talk or see to my kid.
I did take them for 6 months because I felt like she wasn't being a mother. She wanted to.
That's what he wanted to
And
think.
go have fun and party.
This is the kind of moment you pause to process. Ms. Fuentes admits to hooking up with one of 5 brothers during a 4th of July picnic while her ex was in prison. Mr. Rash is furious, questioning how she could love one brother but sleep with another. Even the judge looks exhausted by the madness.
Because she had called me and asked me and said, a 4th of July picnic, would you like to come over? I said yes. I went over there and my ex-boyfriend, which is one of her sons, we were having a good time, and I will admit, me and her son, Chuck, we had a sexual relation.
Enter Mr. Judd, one of the many brothers, casually confirming he slept with Ms. Fuentes. When asked if he thinks he's the dad, he shrugs, saying, nah, the kid don't look like me. Judge Lake reminds him DNA doesn't care about looks. Mr. Judd already seems to regret showing up.
What was the nature of your relationship?
Pretty much just family friend.
But the time of conception matches. You understand that, right? That at the time the child was conceived, you were sleeping with her.
Correct.
Mrs. Judd takes the stand and shocks everyone by saying, she didn't sleep with all my sons, just some of them. The audience loses it. She actually likes Ms. Fuentes and thinks her son is just embarrassed. Just when it seems like things can't get wilder, it's time for the DNA results.
Ms. Fuentes had sex with pretty much all your sons. Oh, how many you got?
I got 10.
Ooh, all boys?
I got 3 girls.
Woo.
She'll do anything in the world for me, and I'll do anything in the world for her. I love her children. Children look at me like a grandmother.
Mr. Rash is visibly stressed, just wanting to know if the kids are his. He says he's been there from the start and hopes for confirmation. The audience sympathizes but braces for the results. The tension is thick as Judge Lake prepares to reveal the truth.
What do you want from today? What is it?
Just want my kids to be mine, and I'm just gonna continue to do what I'm doing.
Mr. Judd, you are the father.
Oh my God.
This story is straight up messy from the start. Mr. Brown says he found an intimate violence tape of his wife with another man, and now thinks the baby isn't his. The court is about to bring in that guy, and things are about to get even worse.
Mr. Brown, you say there is no way you are Amira's biological father. After finding a sex tape of your wife with another man, you now intend to prove he fathered Amira.
Mr. Brown found the video because their kids grabbed Ms. McKinney's phone, and he snatched it just in time. He played the video, saw something nasty, and shut it off real quick. Now the courtroom is about to meet the star of the show, the other man.
One day, the girls, they like snatching her phone, so they grabbed her phone. Before they could even get to the video, I grabbed it, and it pressed play, and I seen the beginning of the video, and I didn't see what I liked, so I just disclosed it. I didn't watch the whole video.
What was in her phone?
They were scrolling through her pictures, whatever, and before they could even get to it, I grabbed the phone.
Oh, because you knew it was something
Yeah,
inappropriate.
it didn't look like a video, so I clicked on it, and didn't like what I seen, and I disclosed it.
The man from the tape, Jonathan Fowler, walks in like nothing's wrong. He admits he had a year-long thing with Ms. McKinney and met her while her husband was right there. This just keeps getting messier, and now Ms. McKinney's story is falling apart.
Mr. Brown found a sex tape of his wife and you.
Well, when I first met Miss McKinley, we was talking on the dating site, and the day I met her, Mr. Brown was present, but they wasn't together. But I seen them face to face.
Oh!
The dates are not adding up at all. Ms. McKinney told Fowler she was pregnant in June 2017, but he says they stopped hooking up months before that. Nobody knows what's going on, and the judge's face says it all.
Me and Miss McKinney met up, and she told me she was pregnant in June of 2017, summer.
What did she tell you exactly?
And she's ready to give birth.
So who did she say the father was?
She didn't tell me
I
nothing.
said it was complicated.
I believed it was complicated because, like I said,
I was back and forth with him and him.
What's April 9th, and Amira was born April 9th.
Mr. Brown refused to sign the birth certificate, and so did Ms. McKinney. She didn't want him on it because of child support, and now everyone is confused. If you think this is bad, just wait for what's next.
When Amira was born, where were you? Were you there?
I was present.
Did you sign the birth certificate?
No, I did not.
I refused to let him sign it.
I said no because Amira didn't look like me. That's why I said
That too.
Why did you refuse?
Because since we're married and I get public assistance, they're gonna try to hit him with child support.
But you all were legally married. So why would he have to be on the hook for child support if you're legally married?
I didn't want him to sign a birth certificate.
The results drop, and boom.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Fowler, you are not the father.
Thank you.
This case is straight up wild from the start. Fisher regrets signing the birth certificate because Doyle just told him he might not be the dad. He loves them both, but his whole world is about to flip upside down.
Mr. Fisher, you claim you made the biggest mistake of your life by signing the birth certificate for 2-month-old Sophia. You say your fiance dropped a bomb on you just 1 month ago and admitted you may not be her father.
Doyle explains how she got tricked into thinking Fisher cheated, so she went and did the same thing. Turns out, Fisher never cheated, so she ruined everything for nothing. This is some next-level bad decision-making.
I was on vacation with one of his family members in Florida, and another one of his family members had texted me. He said, "Trey's cheating on you," which we call him Trey, but his name is John. Me, I was hurt, and so I went to be by myself at the pool area where I was at the time. A guy walked up to me, and he's like, "Well, you look like you need somebody to talk to. Do you want to go to my camper and talk?" So
Fisher was clueless until after Sophia was born, and then Doyle finally spilled the truth. He had already bonded with Sophia, so this news crushed him. And just to make it worse, he had proposed while she was keeping this secret.
The day that I found out she was pregnant, she had threw up like 3 or 4 times because she was feeling sick. We purchased the pregnancy tests. She took them. One had a faint line, and then one had both lines. And I was happy. That was the best day of my life.
So whenever I seen the lines, I was kind of upset. I was like, well, this isn't happening, you know?
Fisher thought he was living in a love story, but really, it was a disaster movie. Doyle knew the truth but still said yes, hoping it would just go away. Spoiler, it did not.
What happens in your relationship?
I told her, I went to work that day and I was thinking about proposing to her because I love her. She's my world. I got home that day, I had the ring in my pocket. I told her how I felt. I said, "I love you, you're my world, you're everything I've ever wanted. I want to take this family to a whole nother level. Will you marry me?" She said yes.
Fisher was the happiest man alive, coaching Doyle through labor and signing the birth certificate. He had no idea he was in an emotional landmine. Now everything he thought was real is in question.
When she was giving birth, I held her hand. I felt like I was the dad, which at the time, I was pretty sure I was. I held her. I kept telling her, push, push, push. I want to see my baby. And afterwards, right there, I held her. I signed the birth certificate and everything because I thought it was my baby.
The courtroom calendar exposes the ugly truth. The baby's birth date lines up exactly with the time Doyle was in Florida with Camper Guy. Fisher is staring at the math like it just personally attacked him.
Sophia was born on January 15th. You took vacation April 21st to May 1st. And that's the window of time in which you cheated.
Yes,
Admit it.
Your Honor.
When you calculate it, the window of conception would be between April 19th to April 26th for a child born on January 15th.
Yes, Your Honor.
Instead of flipping out, Fisher says he'll love Sophia no matter what. Everyone in the room is shook because this is not the reaction they expected. Even Doyle is crying because she knows she doesn't deserve this much kindness.
That's my baby no matter what. And you're my wife. I love you.
Why did that bring you to tears, Miss Doyle?
Because he's so understanding, and if it were me in his position, I wouldn't have stayed.
You don't know how hard it is.
The moment of truth is here, and Fisher is sweating bullets.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Fisher, you are the father.
Oh boy, this is already messy. Ms. Thomas and Mr. Nelson were together for 6 years, had 5 kids, and now he's questioning the last one? This is just the start of a wild ride.
Ms. Thomas, you claim you spent 6 years in a relationship with the defendant, Mr. Taylor, and gave him 5 beautiful children. In return, he cheated on you and is now questioning the paternity of your youngest child, 8-month-old Jakai. You are here to prove paternity and win him back.
Turns out both of them were messing around. Mr. Nelson says she was already with other guys when she got pregnant, but Ms. Thomas swears he was the only one. Somebody is definitely lying, and we're about to find out who.
It was good in the beginning when we first started having children. And then after that, it's like me and her started like both doing our own little thing. And we was already about to split, but she ended up getting pregnant. But at that time, she was already messing around with other guys. So I didn't know what to believe.
It was rocky, but I was not sleeping with different men. Mr. Nelson was the only one that I was sleeping with at the time, especially during my conception date.
Ms. Thomas says he cheated the whole time. She stayed because of their history, but he claims the relationship was already over. If that's true, why is he still acting so mad?
He cheated on me throughout almost our whole entire relationship. We went through hard times. Why wouldn't you want to make something like that work with somebody you had all these years with, all these kids with, and you just want to...
That's why I don't even know the chat, like, man.
He gave up the relationship. I wish it was that easy for me during them times to just throw it away.
It was easy. I asked her, Your Honor, I said, are you gonna leave this guy alone? She said no.
Mr. Nelson went full detective mode and found things in her purse, a man's photo on her phone, and noticed she started coming home late. Ms. Thomas says he was already emotionally checked out, but the real proof is coming next.
How did you find that out?
The dude picture was popping up on her phone.
It didn't start like that. He decided to leave because at that time we did grow apart.
I used to find stuff in her purse and everything. She'd be like, I'm going to work today. She'd come back and be like, you like this outfit right here? I'm like, yeah, where you going? If anything, I've been here with the kids all day long, all 4 of them. She did. She came in at 5 o'clock in the morning. I was like, where you come from? So I'm grown. I can do what I want to do.
Ms. Thomas pulls out an ovulation app like she's in science class. She says she only slept with Mr. Nelson during her fertile days and even brought receipts. But before he can argue, someone else is about to call him out.
I also had an app on my phone tracking my periods when I'm ovulating, and I have it right here.
So you were tracking your cycle.
Yes,
Was
Your
this
Honor.
with the intention of getting pregnant or not getting pregnant?
He actually wanted me to get pregnant.
She told me
so
on my
my
did all them days with him. She said that's why she every time she had sex with him.
And now his wife steps up. She found a video proving he was still sleeping with Ms. Thomas. Oh, and the way she caught him? Priceless.
It's a video I found. The video is dated April 3rd, which would have been, the first day or so that she had showed up in Greensboro. All I know is I saw her demeanor when she came around, and she was kind of like high-stepping. I'm like, okay, this is a person that's supposedly supposed to be so hurt. Like, why is she grinning? And then I saw his demeanor, and he looked guilty. I put 2 and 2 together. That's not right. Why is she extra happy and he's looking crazy?
Mr. Nelson finally confesses after getting caught again. Ms. Thomas then drops another bomb. He's been telling her he still wants to get back together. The audience loses it, and Judge Lake is ready to end him.
So, Mr. Nelson, your wife discovered a video of you having sex with your ex, now mistress.
Yes. I made a slip up.
He's comfortable from going from wifey to side chick.
I'm not nobody's side chick because your husband is the one that tells me he wants to leave.
But that makes you a side chick.
No,
that
it
makes you a
doesn't.
side chick. We're
No, it does
legally
not.
married.
Wait a minute. No, it does messages.
Ms. Thomas brings receipts, text messages from 3 weeks ago where he promised to leave his wife. His wife is shocked, and Mr. Nelson looks like he wants to disappear. But Ms. Thomas isn't done yet.
He texts me. He calls me and tells me how much he misses me and wants to be with me.
Right.
It's not the other way around. And I have messages to be with me.
Did you bring the messages to court with you?
Yes, Your Honor.
These messages are dated from 3 weeks ago. What is your plan for real? So are you really gonna leave her this time? Mr. Nelson, I want my family back.
Ms. Thomas finally lets it all out. She thought they'd always be together, and now she's watching him move on like she never mattered. Judge Lake tells her the hard truth. They're both being played.
Over a man who's taking advantage of both of you, and then you sit up and say you don't feel some kind of way because I see too much. If he just leave me alone, I'd be all right. He don't just slip on a banana peel and land between your legs. No!
The moment everyone's been waiting for. Is he the father?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Nelson, you are the father.
This case started off wild, and the wife was not holding back. Ms. Brown Murray was mad her husband thought she cheated while she was literally dodging bombs overseas. She swears she stayed loyal, but her husband's doubts were about to take center stage.
Today you say you stand before me outraged because your husband has accused you of infidelity while serving in Iraq. Furthermore, you claim he now doubts paternity of your child. You argue that your wife did indeed cheat on you while serving overseas. You contend that there's no way you could be the father because she announced she was pregnant too soon after returning home.
Mr. Murray was straight up stressed out while his wife was away, losing 25 pounds from all the worrying. He was scared younger guys would steal her since he's 22 years older. And then a bomb literally shook his computer during a Skype call. Just when you think it couldn't get worse, he found out she had a male friend overseas.
She went overseas the day after Valentine's. What made it scary for me, first time me being alone in another state with no family, is she still gonna have love for me? It's a lot of men's on base, younger men. Keep in mind, I'm 22 years older than my wife. So that has a lot to do with my being guilty or bad conscience.
Oh boy, here we go, the just a friend excuse. Ms. Brown Murray says the guy was only a buddy, but her husband wasn't buying it. To prove his point, he brought in a mystery witness to spill some military secrets.
Yes, because I guess he was scared because I had a friend while I was over there. I mean, I built a friendship with a friend, so I guess that's the reason why he...
Well...
A male friend?
Yes.
And it was also a judge. While I was there in the apartment complex, I met a few people. Lex has 85% of military people either still active or not. He said, which really, this is when I really got worried.
The anonymous military witness was so dramatic, it felt like a spy movie. He claimed cheating was super common on base and that soldiers live by the rule. What happens on base stays on base. Ms. Brown Murray shut that down real quick. But then Mr. Murray pulled out his next big clue.
Well, first and foremost, I don't want to bring any discredit upon the military because the actions of soldiers, they do not reflect the military. There are a lot of times where you join the military and you're away from home, and so the first thing you can do is cling to people who are around you. You develop a camaraderie. Pretty much what goes on base stays on base.
Mr. Murray went full FBI mode after hearing his wife giggle on the phone, saying he's not stupid. He thought she was mocking him and hiding something, but she said he just doesn't get guy-girl friendships. Then, out of nowhere, he dropped the biggest bomb. He didn't even think the baby looked like him.
She's talking to him. I heard her tell him, he's not stupid. She ain't talking to her mother like that. She ain't talking to her sister like, who are you talking to? And she said his name. And I said, she said, the man called you. I said, well, who's he calling stupid? And she said, you?
What?
And I said, why would he call me stupid? Because you got new shoes and you're excited.
Now, the baby drama really kicked in. Mr. Murray had low sperm count, his baby looked nothing like him, and his wife got pregnant way too fast. The only way to settle this? A DNA test.
I had doubt. I had a man's discharge is unusual, and the doctor told me years ago that it had something to do with my sperm cells were weak. When she got home, it happened so fast.
It has been determined by this court that you are her father.
Thank you.
This was totally insane. Mr. Webb wakes up from a coma and finds out Ms. Forrest is pregnant with a baby that could be his or her husband's. Now he's here ready to fight for full custody.
You have been waiting 2 years for this day. You claim the defendant, Mrs. Forrest, left you for dead only to find out once you got out of a coma that she was pregnant and that the baby could be yours or her husband. You and your husband are here today desperate to put an end to this drama. You say you have no doubt your daughter's biological father is indeed your husband.
This whole thing is messier than a spilled milkshake. Ms. Forrest met Mr. Webb while her husband was in trouble, and they hit it off. She left her husband, and they didn't use protection, which led to, well, this.
My husband got in some trouble, and I ended up meeting Mr. Webb through one of my friends. We hit it off. I ended up leaving Mr. Forrest for Mr. Webb.
So you began a sexual relationship?
Yes, Your Honor.
Were you using protection at the time?
No, Your Honor.
It didn't happen like that at first. Yes, we was in love, but towards the end, I was on life support.
No.
Imagine waking up from a coma and finding out you might be a dad. Yikes. His aunt tells him first, then Ms. Forrest calls and says, yeah, there's a chance. Mr. Webb is sitting there like, what now?
As soon as I got out of hospital, I had got a phone call saying that she was pregnant. I heard it from my aunt first, but on my way to Illinois with my dad, she had called me and told me that it was a possibility that Elena was my child.
So that means she was admitting that she also had slept with other people?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Lake asks if she was with anyone else, and Ms. Forrest says, nope. Mr. Webb instantly calls her a liar, and things get real awkward. The audience is just sitting there like, oof, this is getting messy.
Were you sleeping with anyone else besides Mr. Webb and your husband?
No, Your Honor.
That's a lie,
But when
Your
you
Honor.
called Mr. Webb and said, I'm pregnant.
Which I didn't get back to Miss Forrest until after Travis had done left, or Mr. Webb has done left.
I have a letter from my mom where I was on life support when she came to drop off my stuff.
Which we were already
she had
broken
moved
up by
into
then.
a motel.
Ms. Forrest claims she only slept with her husband when the baby was conceived. But Mr. Webb says, no, we were together right before I went into the hospital. The dates are all over the place, and now nobody knows what to believe.
My daughter was born on May 9th of 2013. And then you take it back 9 months later, that takes it to the week of August 26th through August 31st.
August 26th through August 31st, you were sleeping with your...
Just my husband.
The thing about it, Your Honor, is the day that before I went on to life support, we did have sex.
Mr. Webb finds out about the baby through Facebook. Not even from Ms. Forrest. She says she told his family, but he's like, then why didn't anyone tell me? Now everyone is pointing fingers, and Judge Lake is over it.
I had got an email on Facebook from my aunt that Miss Forrest had Elena.
So you got news that the baby was born. You didn't hear from Miss Forrest herself?
No, Your Honor, not at first.
You heard through your family?
Yes, Your Honor.
I messaged his mother on Facebook and told her what hospital I was going to be at, when I was going to the hospital and everything. Him or his family knew. Nobody showed up.
Mr. Webb has tried for 2 years to meet his daughter, but Ms. Forrest keeps blocking him. He even spent his last $80 on gas to drive there, only to get ghosted. This is just straight up sad.
He wanted to go.
I drove from Illinois whenever she told me that I could meet Elena. I spent the last $80 I had to put in gas, changed her phone number, and blocked me on Facebook. 3 weeks later,
And
I
it's
tried to
changed.
contact her to meet Elena, and she would not contact me back. That is why
And
we
so,
are here today.
Elena is 2 years old, has still not held this baby?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Webb says if the baby is his, he wants full custody. Ms. Forrest and her husband basically yell, not happening. The courtroom is so tense you could cut it with a butter knife.
This DNA test proves that I am Elena's father. I will fight for my full custody rights.
and I will fight you for custody.
There's no way he is getting my daughter.
So, Mr. Forrest, you're convinced you're Elena.
Where he is.
Oh, wait. Are you? No. I'm saying, are you convinced you're her biological father?
There's a possibility, yes.
Judge Lake reads the results, and boom.
That her biological father is Mr. Webb.